Okay, so fuel economy is equal to, okay, writing down the formula, fuel used or amount of fuel divided by distance in kilometers. Fuel economy. Yeah, so fuel economy. Yeah, I just kind of abbreviated that. Fuel economy. Fuel use divided by distance times 100. Times 100. So what we're going to do is we're just going to write down the formula. Write down the formula first. Okay. And then the next step is for us to, it's called substitution, which is replacing the numbers into the equation. Okay, that's what it's called, substitution. So fuel use, so how much is the fuel? 53.8. Oh, sorry, I didn't finish, times 100. Fuel economy is equal fuel used, 53.8, divided by distance, 612 kilometers, times 100. Okay, so we wrote on the formula, we substituted into the formula, and now we're ready to calculate. Okay, because usually on our tests, on our assignments, on the exam particularly, we have to show our work. So this is the right way to do that. So let's go ahead and calculate that piece. And then let's compare our answers. Did you get 8.79? Yeah? Okay. So 8.79. Okay. So what is 8.79? That's the amount of fuel economy, amount of fuel used when driving 100 kilometers. That's, by definition, that's what fuel economy is. So if you, I know some people write their final answer as a sentence. So the fuel economy is 8.79 liters, okay, liters per 100 kilometer. Because the word fuel economy is how much the car uses to drive 100 kilometers. Okay? That's that piece. Take a look at question number 8 or example 8. Determining the vehicle's fuel economy. Okay. Determining the Is that okay to move it up? It says here, you take a test model on an extended test drive. The fuel tank was full when you started. At the beginning of the test drive, the odometer reads 109.3 kilometers, and then at the end of the test drive, it reads 198.8 kilometers. So when we first picked up the truck, it was certain 109.3 kilometers. We drove it, and then now it's 198. So you fill up the gas at the end of the test drive, and you find that you used 12.5 liters of fuel. Determine the fuel economy of this truck. So fuel economy, I'll just abbreviate that, FE, is equals to fuel used divided by distance traveled, distance, times 100. Now, fuel used. We know that the fuel used to replace what was lost was 12.5 liters. 12.5. And then the distance. Well, how do we know how much is the distance traveled? We started off with 109. We drove it, and it's now 198.8. So the distance, okay, how far did they travel? I'm just gonna calculate that on the side. The distance is 198.8 minus 109.3. Okay, so the difference will be the amount of distance traveled. So 198.8 minus 109.3. Okay, so the distance was 89.5. Was that okay? Yeah. We kind of talked about that yesterday. So now we're going to use that amount right here. 89.5. Okay. Let's go ahead and calculate that. So the fuel economy is 13.97. Okay, 13.97. So we have to write that down as a fuel economy. So what does that mean? The fuel economy is 13.97 liters per 100 kilometers. Okay. So 13.97 liters per 100 kilometer. Good. Okay. How's that one? It's okay so far? Yeah? Oh. Leave it up for a bit. Look at we're down to just 2 more examples, and then we could have a little bit of time to work. Certainly, that's a nice treat. You don't have to listen to me as much. So, example 9. You own a car and a truck. That's nice. We have 2. The car has a fuel economy of 8.7 liters per 100 kilometer. So, a car is this, and the truck has a fuel economy of 14.3. Well, does that make sense to us? First of all, the car is 8.7 liters and the truck is 14.3. The truck is bigger, so it would probably uses more fuel, right, than the car, right? It uses more fuel per 100 kilometers of driving. So,
so example 8, what about the correct answer?
Example 8. Okay, can I finish this and I'll bring it back? Okay. So you need to drive to your mother's house, which is a round trip of 430 kilometers. You all know that the car would be cheaper in gas, right? Okay, we know it's going to be cheaper in gas because it consumes less gas per 100 kilometer. But you would like to take the truck because it's more comfortable, right? So how many liters of gas would you need if you buy the car for this trip? How many liters of gas you would need if we take the car for the trip? How do we do that?
8.7 times 430 divided by 100.
Okay, so we're gonna, I don't know. I'm gonna set it first. I'm not super speedy on things like this. No, that's okay. Okay, so we're gonna set it up. Liters. The fuel economy is 8.7 liters per 100 kilometers. Okay, so that's a fuel economy. And what do we know? It takes 430 kilometers to do a round trip. So 430 kilometers, I'm gonna put the 430 in the denominator at the bottom. So kilometers and kilometers are both at the bottom.
37.41.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. You set it up like this. You set it up like this. Liters, kilometers, so many liters. We don't know how many liters we need to travel 430 kilometers. So how can we do that? You go from here to here. You start off with this. You take 430. You divide that with that. Okay, I know I showed you a different way yesterday, which is a cross multiplication. I'll show that to you as well. So take 430 divided by 100, and then from there, whatever your answer is, you're gonna multiply it by 8.7. 430 divided by 100 times 8.7, and then you're gonna get the x is equal to 37.41 liters. 37.41 liters. So this is one strategy. We're basically comparing these two. You're gonna need more kilometers, right? So kilometers divided by kilometers, and then multiply with the liters. That's one strategy that you can use. The other strategy is the one that I showed you yesterday, which is the cross multiplication. I'll show that to you as well. So you have two different ways of doing this, whichever one you like. So using a cross multiplication, started off with 8.7 per 100 kilometers. I'll just go here. I'm just gonna erase that piece, 430. We're gonna cross multiply these things. We're gonna cross multiply. Cross multiply. Okay, once we cross multiply, we're gonna get 430 times 8.7 equals x times 100. Yeah. So
I thought we divided with 100.
430 times 8.7 is 3,741 equals to x times 100. Okay, so we're trying to solve for x. X is being multiplied by 100. We're going to do the opposite of that, which is dividing it by 100. So dividing it by 100, we're left with the x, and on the left side it's 37.41. Okay, so you have two ways of doing this, setting it up and then solving for x. Okay, two different ways. So let's try this one, letter B. Do you want to see this one again? We'll try letter B. How many liters of gas would be needed by the truck for this trip? Okay, well, the truck we know is how much? 14.3 over liters over 100 kilometers, right? We don't know how many liters, so we're just going to call it X amount of liters over 430 kilometers. Okay. So what are we going to do? I showed you a slightly different steps here. You take this divided by that. And then whatever that is, you multiply. This means multiply. And that will give us our X amount, X value. So 430 divided by 100 times 14.3. Okay, so the truck will need 61.49 liters. Okay. We know that, right? We know that the car will use up less fuel than the truck. And that's, we actually can see it here. So, the next question, letter C. If the cost of gas is $1.129 per liter, how much would you save by taking the car? Okay, what's your strategy there? There's actually, I could actually think of two strategies. How would we figure that out? You have something? Subtraction. Okay. What are we subtracting?
37.41 minus 61.49. Either one.
Yeah.
Subtract it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the amount of liters that we saved, right? Okay. And then, how much would you save in terms of cost? So we're gonna save. For the car, it's 61.49 liters. For the car, if we take that away, 37.41 liters. I don't know what that is. So we're saving 24.08 liters, okay? Not dollars, liters. Is that okay? Because this is liters minus liters. Liters. So we saved 24.08 liters. Well, how much is that in dollars? So it's going to be 24.08 liters times $1.129 per liter. I think we talked about this yesterday. The word liter, those two units get canceled out. So we're left with just the dollar unit. And we've actually saved up extra $27.19 because I had to round up. Is that good? Oh, can't see this piece yet. Sorry. So, all of these examples is kind of like a different flavor of the ice cream. And I don't know why I'm thinking ice cream. I think it's just because I looked outside and it's icy. It's a different flavor of questions. Okay? Sometimes they ask you, what is the fuel economy? Sometimes, how many distance can you travel with this much gas? Sometimes the question is, how much fuel do you need to travel this distance? So you can see the different flavor of the question, different questions for each time. Okay? Good? Are you appreciating what we're working on? Yeah, you like it? Last example, and it says here exam style question. Okay? So maybe something like this was seen on the exam. Well, we'll see. So these two people went on a long trip. They recorded the following information. This is how much they traveled. This is how much they used in gas. And then this is how much all of the gas cost. Okay? So the first part is calculate the fuel economy. Okay, so how can we calculate the fuel economy? Fuel economy is equals to fuel used divided by distance times 100. So that's a formula. Okay, so fuel used, well, we used 490 divided by distance 4,150 times 100. Like this. Okay. Did you get 11.81 liters? Okay. Now the fuel economy has to be per 100 kilometers, so it's 11.81 liters per 100 kilometers. I know it's just 11.81, but we need to put per 100 kilometers there, because that's how fuel economy is stated. Okay, good. Let's take a look at letter B. Calculate the cost of gas per liter. So how much is the gas per liter in this trip? Cost of gas per liter. Well, the cost of gas is $588. The word per means divided by how many liters? 490 liters. So cost is the dollars, liters, the 490 liters. So 588.
And using 100.
No, you don't have to for that one. That's only for fuel economy. It's actually reverse.
So we couldn't do 588 times 100 divided 490.
500. Okay, let me write it down. Sorry, 500. 588. Okay, that's a dollars. Divided by what's your approach? Maybe I'll finish this off and then I'll take a look at yours. So the cost of gas, the word per, dividing liter. How many liters? Cost per liter. So the cost is 588 per how many liters? I got 1.2. So it's 1.2. So that means it's $1.20 per liter. $1.20 per liter. I'm gonna try to keep it. Can I see yours? Oh. Okay, so that kind of finishes off this lesson. I know it's pretty lengthy with, like I said, variety of flavors of examples and type of questions. So, for now, we have plenty of time. We've got about 20 minutes. At least, yesterday I asked you to do questions 1 through 7. If you did it, that's great. Keep going. If you haven't started this, you can get started on that one. And I think we should be able to work on some of these questions. Raise up your hand if you were able to do questions 1 through 7 yesterday. Do 1 through 7? Okay.
I already done